This is our time. We're talking about the main events at this hour in the studio. Yulia Gorovaya. Hello. One person was killed and 10 were injured as a result of Russian strikes on the Donetsk region. Over the past day, Russian forces shelled 3 districts of the region. This was reported by the head of the military administration, Vadim Falashkin. Cars and residential buildings were damaged. Infrastructure facilities, warehouses, stores, and a shopping center were also affected. Russian forces attacked rescuers again in the Dnipropetrovsk region while they were dealing with the aftermath of the overnight Russian shelling. 1 fire truck was destroyed there. 2 more were seriously damaged. No personnel were injured. The Nikopol district also came under fire last night. There, the Russian Federation used drones and artillery. In addition, there was a fire in Kryvyi Rih after a Russian drone attack. It is reported that transport infrastructure was damaged. 2 people were killed in the Kharkiv region. Among the 3 injured is a 9-year-old girl. Police and rescue service vehicles were hit by the Russian strike. 3 law enforcement officers were hospitalized with injuries. During a repeated Russian shelling, a state emergency service vehicle that had arrived to put out the fire after the Russian strike was burned. Local, private, and apartment buildings were damaged in the region, as well as vehicles. Nearly 1,750 attack drones, more than 1,500 guided aerial bombs, and 39 missiles were used by Russia against Ukrainians this week. These figures were reported by President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Civilian infrastructure, energy facilities, and residential buildings were targeted by the aggressor's strikes. Ukrainian soldiers managed to neutralize most of the targets. But more protection is needed, the president emphasized.
First and foremost, these are air defense missiles, which is why contributions and deliveries under the Pearl program are crucial. I thank everyone who continues to provide support. Sanctions against Russia and its accomplices must continue to be strengthened. Everything that helps the Russian Federation finance and continue this war must be blocked. Today, there will also be talks with European partners. On each of these points, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine, Telegram.
Ukrainian servicemen are undergoing training in Poland. The training is taking place as part of the European Union's military assistance program. This was reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. This week, the training covered 3 areas. These are firearms training, engineering, and sapper work and tactics. The soldiers carried out dynamic shooting exercises in various conditions. The drills took place in urban areas and open terrain. They also practiced reconnaissance, searching for explosives. Special attention was given to defensive and offensive actions. The United Arab Emirates is in a state of war. This was stated by the country's president, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. This is the first public statement by the UAE leader after the missile strike from Iran. The president visited people who were injured as a result of this attack. There, he emphasized that the country remains strong. The UAE is not an easy target. Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan promised to fulfill his duty to the country and the people and to protect all residents of the state. According to him, security is guaranteed in all 7 emirates, including the largest ones, Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Let me remind you that the escalation happened after a joint operation by the US and Israel and Iran. The first strikes were carried out on February 28th. The Israel Defense Forces launched massive strikes on Tehran's fuel infrastructure. The operation took place on March 7th, according to reports from the IDF. The targets were large oil storage facilities. They supply fuel to civilian consumers. These facilities also provide fuel to Iran's military structures. The IDF itself stated that this strike marked a new stage of pressure on the Iranian regime. The Chief of Staff of the Israel Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, announced the transition to the next phase of the operation. According to him, the pressure on Iran's military capabilities will intensify. An explosion went off at night near the U.S. Embassy in the capital of Norway, Oslo. Dozens of police units, firefighters, and ambulances arrived at the scene. There have been no reports of casualties. According to police, the explosion occurred at the entrance to the consular section. One eyewitness reported that the entrance and the embassy were damaged. In addition, the night before, the American embassy in Baghdad, Iraq, came under rocket fire. According to Reuters, rockets were fired at the diplomatic mission area from a Katyusha multiple launch rocket system. One of the rockets was intercepted by the C-RAM air defense system. There were no American casualties. Demand for Ukrainian interceptor drones is growing every day. And not just in Ukraine, but around the world. Countries in the Middle East and the Persian Gulf are interested in acquiring them. A representative from one of the major Ukrainian interceptor drone manufacturers has already shared this information with the BBC. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy also stated that the United States has requested support in defending against Iranian Shahed drones in the Middle East region. How can Ukraine's experience in modern warfare help its allies? More on this in our report.
This is how Ukrainian drone operators work in combat conditions. These groups are called the Small Air Defense because they're the first to detect enemy drones and shoot them down with interceptor drones.
Our unit has shot down more than 1,000 targets. Just 2 weeks ago, we took down our 1,000th Shahed.
In February, Ukrainian interceptor drones carried out almost 6,500 sorties and destroyed more than 1,500 Russian UAVs of various types. And that's just in Kyiv and its surrounding areas. During February, the share of such interceptor drones in downing Shaheds was over 70%, according to Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Oleksandr Syrsky. Now, Ukrainian manufacturers are working on improving the effectiveness of various models of interceptor drones. So,
this is a war of engineers, and every day something changes. Those who can't keep up with the changes don't survive. So,
according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, this winter Russia launched 19,000 Shahed-type attack drones at Ukraine. Most of them were shot down. In the 4 years since Russia's invasion, Ukraine has developed fairly inexpensive methods to destroy Russian aerial threats. After the U.S. and Israel launched a military campaign in Iran, Tehran responded by firing hundreds of missiles and drones at the countries of the Persian Gulf. The U.S. started showing interest in Ukrainian interceptor drones.
We received a request from the United States for specific support in defending against Shaheds in the Middle East. I instructed to provide the required resources and ensure the presence of Ukrainian specialists who can guarantee the necessary security. Ukraine is assisting partners who help ensure our security and the protection of the lives of our people. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
At the end of February, Ukrainian UAV manufacturers presented a new generation of unmanned ground and aerial vehicles. They say they developed them based on the wishes and recommendations of the military. As a result, they produce products that are relevant on the battlefield right now and will remain relevant for the next 6 months or a year.
We have a lot of plans regarding interceptors. At the moment, we're implementing computer vision in them so that pilots can lock onto a target from several hundred meters away. Then, by simply taking their hands off the remote control, they can still hit the target. And of course, automation is our goal for the future. Right now, we're working on automating the interceptor itself to almost completely eliminate manual control.
The National Association of Defense and Industry of Ukraine says that there was already extremely high interest in Ukrainian weaponry even before the start of the U.S. military campaign in Iran. In particular, this was noticeable at the International Arms Exhibition that took place in early February in Saudi Arabia. Products from Ukrainian manufacturers were also showcased there.
As you can see, they are currently being showcased right here on display. Up until the point when the political issue with exports is resolved. This is also necessary for post-war cooperation. Interest in Ukrainian weapons is currently heightened around the world, including in that region. Serhiy Vysotsky, deputy chairman of the National Association of the Defense Industry of Ukraine, in an interview with the BBC.
Soldiers from the 117th Brigade of the Territorial Defense are preparing to launch new type high-speed interceptor drones. No, that is not going to happen. You are going to stop right there, and the reason is command post and the Salute.
This is the Salute, a multi-rotor type interceptor. What's your? 4 engines, half a kilogram of explosives on the nose of the UAV. Well, these are the ones they use against Shaheds, mostly Shahed Garand drones.
According to the expert, Ukrainian drones are capable of seriously shifting the balance of power in the Middle East, and very soon, Ukraine may enter the global military technology market.